Hey everybody. Today I want to talk about the woodwork, often referred to as driftwood, that we keep in our aquariums, and the production of nitrate and the nitrogen cycle. I have said for many years that as the wood in our aquariums breaks down and decomposes, that adds to the nitrates. It's an organic material that's decomposing in our aquariums, and when organic materials decompose, they produce ammonia, and that ammonia ultimately, through the nitrogen cycle, ends up as nitrate. And I believe that ever since I've gotten in the hobby. That's what I was told, that's been my understanding, and I've said that to countless people over the years. And I just said it again in a video the other day, and up until that video I'd had no reason to question the reasoning behind that. Again, wood is organic material that's decomposing in our aquariums, and therefore it should be producing nitrate, right? Well, it doesn't. And I had a viewer correct me and say that wood is the part of the tree that the plant is not storing nitrogen in the wood. The wood is basically cellulose, and the nitrogen is all in the leaves and the roots and, where the plant's going to use it. The woodwork is basically just the skeleton or the bones. There's no nitrogen really available in the wood. So when it goes in our aquariums, it does not break down and produce ammonia. So that sounded reasonable enough, that makes sense, but a lot of things sound reasonable but aren't necessarily true. So I started doing a little bit of research, and I found out that in this case this is true, or at least I believe it to be true. I didn't find that specific information exactly, and in fact I wasn't able to find anything about the aquarium hobby specifically, but I did find a lot of interesting information about gardening and using wood, wood chips, sawdust, bark, shredded wood, etc. in our gardens or as soil amendments in our mulch piles. And in doing my research into that, I've come to the conclusion that my viewer was 100% accurate. Well, the first article I started reading, or it wasn't really an article, it was a paper actually, and it was from the 60s. It was actually done here in Maryland. I found kind of interesting. It was used soil from down on the Eastern Shore. And the researcher was tired of all of these articles. Apparently in the 60s, there was a big wave of everybody saying you should use sawdust or wood chips to amend your soil in your garden. It does this, that, and the other thing. And this researcher wanted to know what effect of the nitrogen, what impact is nitrogen going to have on this process. And so when I started reading the research paper, I thought that it was about how the wood is going to produce nitrogen in the soil and how the nitrogen is going to accumulate and so on and so forth. And so as I'm reading this paper, what I was reading wasn't really making sense to me, and I had to start over and look at what he was actually studying. And the study was not on how much nitrogen the wood produced, but it was how much wood the nitrogen consumed while it was being broken down or decomposing. And so after doing some more reading, I found out that wood needs excess nitrogen in order for it to be broken down. The microbes and the bacteria and stuff that actually break the wood down and decompose it need nitrogen in order to do this. And the wood, while it does contain nitrogen, it doesn't contain very much, and it doesn't contain enough nitrogen for the microbial life to break it down. And so they have to steal nitrogen from other sources. So when you're using wood chips or pine bark mulch or something to keep the weeds down in your garden, what's actually happening is the wood that's in contact with the soil is being broken down because the microbes are stealing nitrogen from the soil to have enough nitrogen to be able to break the wood chips down. So that surface soil is very nitrogen deficient, and that's what prevents the seeds of weeds and stuff from taking root and getting started. And that's why the wood chips act as such a good weed preventer. It's actually stealing nitrogen out of the soil in order to break the wood down. And I've read 2 or 3 different articles, the same thing. If you're using it in your mulch pile or your compost pile, then you don't really need to worry about it because there's so much excess nitrogen typically in a compost pile or something that's not an issue. The wood will break down fairly quickly. But if you're just throwing wood chips in your garden or you're using it to amend your soil, a lot of people will recommend pouring ammonia on it or adding ammonium nitrate or some other outside nitrogen source in order to have this wood broken down. So even though that's not aquarium hobby stuff, if we take that information and we apply it to the aquarium, you have to assume the same thing is happening. Whatever microbes are breaking that woodwork down in our tanks need nitrogen in order to do it, and they're not getting the nitrogen from the wood. So the only place they're going to be able to get the nitrogen is from our water, from our tank. So logically, it would seem that having woodwork decomposing in our aquariums actually reduces, probably not by much and probably not a statistically significant amount, but if any nitrogen is being affected in our tanks by woodwork decomposing, it would be the opposite of what we've thought, or what I've always thought and what I've always said. You would actually have nitrogen being used out of your tank in order to provide the nitrogen source for the microbes to break the wood down. So I no longer can say that the woodwork in your aquarium is contributing to your bioload, as I has always believed. So as always, keep those comments coming. If you think I'm wrong about something, or you hear me saying something that's incorrect, there's no need to be a jerk about it. You can just inform me that I'm incorrect or have a conversation with me. I'm more than happy to learn new things and admit when I'm wrong, and share that with everybody. So again, if you hear me saying something that you think I'm wrong about, or just sounds misguided, or you've always thought something else and you're questioning why I'm saying this, don't be shy. Ask questions, leave comments, tell me when you think I'm wrong. I've learned so much by taking these comments from my viewers and doing some research from it over the years. And this was a good one. This was really interesting information. This will help me not only in my aquarium hobby, but also in my gardens, in my garden hobby. I know more about what's going on with the nitrogen and the woodwork and my soil and so on and so forth. So that was a good one. So thanks for that input. Again, don't be shy about giving me any other input. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts or your feedback. Have you always believed that the nitrogen cycle was impacted by the wood? And if so, how much? Was it never really something you've thought about? Hit me up, let me know, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other channel. I did just go out and collect up some woodwork the other day, and I think I'm probably going to post that video on my outdoors channel. So check out Dan's Outdoors and More. I do have a link down below, and there's also a link on my banner. And memberships are now available, so you can join my membership page. I do have a members only video where you actually get to see the new woodwork that I have collected. I've actually posted a little sneak peek video in the members only section, because I have finally gotten some woodwork for my 20-gallon tank. We're just going to start getting that set up over the next few days, so look forward to some video of that coming out. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're a member, and I'll see you real soon in the next one. Thanks again.